Hello everybody, welcome to the Hellbound Show, episode 11. I'm your host, Gavin Von Carls, and this week we have a very special guest and good friend of mine joining us, Josh Hoover. Josh is currently starring on The Walking Dead, where he plays Joey, one of Negan's saviors. You might also recognize Josh from shows like *Halt and Catch Fire* and the movie The Nice Guys, starring Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. Anyways, without further ado, congrats to your latest success, Josh, and glad to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
I saw on your Facebook a friend jokingly ask if you'd be driving for Uber again this weekend.
Yeah, you gotta love those guys.
You said you might take a day off. Are you enjoying that day off?
Yeah, it's been a good long day off. It's all continuous, right?
It's always got to be good reading those comments with your close buddies just busting your balls.
Well, you never know, man. I mean, I could be on The Walking Dead for a season and then back to serving at Chili's next week, you know?
It is kind of up in the air because, I mean, Glenn got killed off this season.
Yeah, you never know.
Can you tell me a little bit about what got you into acting? Like, were there any other careers you were thinking of, or was that the one thing you wanted to do when you got to Hollywood?
No, I definitely wanted to be a basketball player. I thought it was going to be in the NBA, but as you can tell from my height and size, it didn't really work out. Didn't make the Christian school team, so once that didn't happen, I knew that, my future might need to change a little bit if I'm not making the Christian team.
Speaking of that, you did have a very religious upbringing.
Yeah, super religious, super conservative, but my parents are awesome and amazing and super supportive. My dad's still a pastor, so it's kind of crazy to do scenes that say, like, did you pet her pussy? And then be like, Dad, did you watch? Did your friends from church watch? It's not exactly the easiest conversation sometimes, but we're both happy.
That was one of the things I was wondering when I watched the show. Like, it must be kind of weird to say those things and know your folks are watching.
Well, the weirdest one was doing The Nice Guys. Like, I knew my parents were going to have a problem with the movie being rated R, because I was never allowed to watch anything over PG, like PG was what was allowed in our house until I was, out of the house. And then, I was in The Nice Guys this year with Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, and the scene that I'm in is me watching porn and Russell Crowe coming in and slamming my head down. So it was, we've worked out a system where there's like friends of the church and friends of my mom, and I'll just be like, all right, guys, you guys can watch this one. Okay, guys, you can't watch this one,
Do you have an edited version for your family?
Well, it's funny. One of the fans from Walking Dead sent me the comic of the scene that I was in. And I mean, I don't know if you know this about the show, but they do like edited takes and then they do uncensored takes, so they can do the Blu-ray version. So if you buy the Blu-ray, you can see him drop the F-bomb every 2 seconds. But if you just watch it on TV, it's got to be appropriate for AMC. So the scene that I did last episode 7, when I bring the bat to him, there's just all these F-bombs, and it says, did you eat her pussy, or did you lick, did you pet the pussy, or did you eat the pussy? Like, it says that in the comic. So I actually got the comic, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm going to post this. And then I looked at all the language on there, and I was like, all right, I'm going to edit it. So I threw it in Photoshop and threw some black bars over the words that would offend my parents and posted it.
I had no idea that you could get the unedited version on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's cool. I had no idea, too, until someone was telling me, like, yeah, they shoot the scene 2 different ways, one for the uncensored Blu-ray and then one for AMC, which is more work for, Jeffrey or Negan or whoever the characters are that are unloading the language, but it was awesome, man.
One of the things I really like about The Walking Dead is it does have a religious theme running throughout. In the earlier seasons, we had Herschel, who was always preaching, and now we even have a character that's named Jesus, and he looks like him too.
Yeah, Tom's a really cool guy. Yeah, he's a good dude. I don't know the religious tones as much as you, but I'll take your word for it.
So we all saw you had this intense moment with fan favorite Daryl Dixon.
Oh, yeah.
Played by the awesome Norman Reedus last week.
Yeah.
What's it like to point a magnum at Norman?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, having Rick's gun was crazy. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, all right, you have Rick's gun, just so you know, this thing's valued around $500,000. Be careful with it. And I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, I've never held anything that's that crazy. So that was kind of fun to, have the gun. And then they're just like, all right, so you're going to walk around and point it at Daryl all day today. And I was just like,
wow.
Okay, this is another thing I don't really normally do. I mean, you know me pretty well. You would say it'd be crazy if you saw me holding a gun, owning a gun, anything like that, correct?
Yeah, no way.
Like, I'm not like super anti-gun, but at the same time, like the idea of something that can kill someone and the idea that I like to get inebriated every now and then, like, don't mesh very well in my mind. So it's kind of like, yeah. But yeah, so they had me holding the gun, and then we would do that scene where Negan walks by and he goes, I need to talk to my associates for a minute or whatever. And he goes, not you. You stay here, watch him. And then they sit him down in the chair. And that's one of the photos that I love that Gene took. He's our on-set photographer. He's amazing. But yeah, that photo of me pointing the gun right down Norman's space between his eyes, you know what I mean? Like right down his barrel. Like they actually came over and told me, like, point it right at his face.
Really?
Don't pussyfoot around it or whatever, Like they were just straight up like, listen, he wants it right in his face, so putting it right in his face. And I was just like, all right, sounds good. I mean, when we were doing rehearsals, I was like holding it lower, holding it off to the side, you know what I mean? Like I on the receiving end wouldn't necessarily want that in my face. That's the kind of actor he is. So he was very much into getting it right between his eyes, So it was cool. I mean, it was very intense. Everything on that set was pretty intense until they called cut, and then everybody was joking around, and it's a big family, But it was crazy.
When I was watching that scene, I was thinking, there's no way he's actually pointing the gun at his head. He's got to be holding it off to the side a bit.
No. They have an amazing props guy, Todd. He's like the guy who works with us directly and like walks over to me, hands me the gun every time we're shooting or whatever, and is just like, all right, let's go through the safety measures. They like show me that it's empty. They empty the barrel. They shine a light through it, so you can see that there's absolutely nothing in there. And then they do it with whoever is going to be on the receiving end of it. And, they do it with producers, directors. Like, they're very safe about all that stuff. So I really respect that, because I know there's been a lot of tragedy in the past with just careless people.
Are there any other characters you want to have an intense interaction with on the show, like Rick or Maggie or someone?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to work with any of those guys. I mean, I've met a bunch of them. Rick, Andy Lincoln's like one of the nicest guys I've ever met. But yeah, I'd love to interact with all of them. I mean, there's already like a Reddit thing going on that I'm going to fight my death to Jerry in the Kingdom. Jerry, the guy that says deuces and it's fruit time or whatever. And I can't comment on whether that happens or not, but that is something that I'd be super into, of like battling to death with Cooper Andrews, who I did 2 seasons of Halt and Catch Fire with. So it's kind of crazy that we're working on this show together as well. So it's been a blast. Yeah.
On Game of Thrones, they have those bets, like, on which characters are going to fight. Clegane Bowl has been thrown around a little bit. Now I guess Walking Dead is doing the same. I wonder what the spread is on that.
Yeah. Yo, let's take it to Vegas. I can give you inside info.
Right.
No. I'm not going to give away any inside info if anyone's listening to this from MC. I apologize for making that joke.
Now, speaking of Halt and Catch Fire, and yeah, I'm ashamed to admit this, but I haven't watched the show. I mean, come on, I'm on a horror podcast. But anyways, I imagine it's completely different, like the type of character you play on there.
First of all, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for watching the show. I really appreciate that. No, I mean, *Halt and Catch Fire* is an amazing show. It's one of those shows that I feel like people are going to look back on and be like, why didn't people watch this? Because our main 5-6 actors that we have on the show are just ridiculous. And then we have recurring guest stars every season that are just so great. I mean, my character, yeah, there's no really similarities between Joey and Bodhi. I mean, Joey is just this I'm trying to think of a non-curse word to say it. He is a slave, or just a very much a whatever you say boss. He's a yes man to Negan completely. And they have that kind of relationship where it's, I'll do anything he says, of course, yes.
You seem pretty high up in Negan's ranks of saviors. He's got the guy who's copying Daryl. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Oh, Dwight Austin?
Dwight.
Yeah, who got the iron to the face.
Yeah, you're one step down from him in the pecking order.
Yeah, I think that I'm one of the more high-ranking saviors, but at the same time, I think I'm just kind of like... I talked to Scott Gimple at the rap party, and he was just like, your lovability is what we love about you on the show. I was talking to my buddy at the party last night, and he was like, listen, man, I love Negan. I know, like, so many people hate him, and, he killed Glenn, and he killed Abraham, or whatever. And, like, there's so much hate and so much grief or anxiousness against him. But I think he's one of the best characters on television. And I'm like, dude, I'm right there with you. And he compared it to Heath Ledger as the Joker. Like, he's one of those characters that is so bad, but you still love the guy and you're kind of rooting for him, even though he is like Satan.
Oh, definitely. People are going to be sad if he ever gets killed on the show. I mean, Negan is the best villain the show has ever encountered.
Exactly. And Jeffrey D. Morgan is just genius with it. Like, we were talking about, we like broke down his acting a little bit last night, and the way that he just like leans back and has that shoulder drop when he talks sometimes. And it's just like,
yeah, he's
almost prancing and has like a little dance to his walk or whatever. Like, he's genius. Jeffrey is so good as Negan.
Do you guys have a lot of fun between the takes, or is Jeffrey method and very serious?
Well, the thing with him is he is always monologuing. And I've noticed fans commenting on that on like Twitter and stuff. Like, they're just like, all right, here goes another JDM monologue. But that guy has so much to say in his scenes. You know what I mean? Like they'll cut to us for reactions, or like yes sir, or who are you? I'm Negan. You know what I mean? Like, we'll get like those little throw offs, but for the most part, like, he just has, if you saw the script, it'd just be like Negan all the way down. So he's very much into perfecting that and just getting the best take, and he's great to watch, and I feel like I learn a lot anytime I'm watching him, because he's very good with how he connects everything. I don't know what his method is or whatever, and we never really talk shop in that way about that stuff, but it was just really cool. And to see him work with directors that he knew, like the last director, I believe they worked together on either a movie or The Good Wife or something. I should look that up. But yeah, Rosemary Rodriguez was one of my favorite directors I've ever worked with, and she was just amazing. And they had already had that like kinship where they loved each other, and that's what's crazy for working for AMC. You get to work with the best directors, you get to work with the best writers. Like, everybody wants to be on their shows.
No doubt. They've won countless Emmy Awards, even a Golden Globe.
Yeah, even *Halt and Catch Fire*, we had Oscar-winning directors. Like two of our directors last season won Oscars. Like it was just like, okay, this is the people that I'm rubbing shoulders with. These are the people that I'm like, oh yeah, I know Kimberly. You know what I mean? Or she did *Boys Don't Cry*.
Yeah.
The Hilary Swank movie.
Yes, she's great.
So she's like got a lot of accolades as a director, and she's amazing. Love her. But yeah, it's insane.
Do you have any award speeches planned?
Oh, for best supporting fat Joey. Never. I'll call you up and ask for some advice about that, all right? Yeah, if there's like some convention somewhere that wants to be like, all right, best comedic moment in Walking Dead, then I'll get beat by like Jerry or somebody else. Like Josh McDermott always has funny stuff. He's saying like, I'd like to go back to awkward silence now or whatever. There's always like super funny bits that they throw in there, and that's why people love the show.
I have another co-host on the show sometimes. He wasn't able to make it today, but
he wasn't interested in talking to me. That's messed up. What's his name?
His name's CJ Duke, and he had a pretty good question he wanted to ask you.
I don't know if I want to answer it. He couldn't show up. No, I'm just kidding. CJ.
No, I'm sure he would have loved to have been here if he could. It's more of a technical issue with getting two mics rigged up over the Skype call. Anyways, the CW has plundered a lot of Walking Dead actors to play villains on their shows. In fact, like Emily Kinney is one. She was on The Walking Dead season 5.
Yeah, I know her. Yeah, she did a show, or she did a shoot at Simon's place. Yeah, I met Emily before I even worked on the show.
It's a small world.
Small world.
So CJ was asking, is there a supervillain that you would like to play in the comic book universe?
Oof. I immediately jumped to type and like Penguin comes to mind, but I don't think I'd ever want to play Penguin for Batman or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm not a big comic book guy. Like if there's a Marvel movie or something coming out, like I will go enjoy it and just veg out and enjoy the movie. But I've never really read comics, and then once someone sent me the Walking Dead stuff, I was just like, oh, okay, I get it. And I mean, I'm sure I looked at some as a kid, but it's never been something that I followed. I don't even know what kind of type I'd play. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I'd love to play the comic book stuff. I mean, I don't think that I'm that menacing, but Jeffrey's portrayal of Negan really gives me hope because he has such a likable, like the thing I love about him is just his menacing smile. You know what I mean? Like I'm a smiler, I'm a happy guy for the most part, but if you turn that and make it evil a little bit, like I feel like those are some of my favorite characters. Like John Goodman's another great guy like that. Where have you seen 10 Cloverfield Lane?
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so good, but just like so, he doesn't put a lot into it. That's not a critique of his acting. He's so natural that it is just kind of like, it's so good. I don't know.
Okay, let's take away the supervillain aspect. What's that dream role you've always wanted to play? I
mean, anything like Eastbound and Down, I love that kind of character. Kenny Powers is something that I'm such a fan of. He's just like this. You know who else? The Comeback, Lisa Kudrow in The Comeback. Like those characters who think they're amazing and just like have this cockiness about them, and inside or in reality everyone's laughing at them, not with them. Like I love the idea of playing something that's similar to that. I'd love to have a super bad. I'd love to have a Pineapple Express type movie. I love Seth Rogen's comedy is really great. I love Jonah's stuff. I mean, one day I'd love to play Elder Cunningham on Book of Mormon. So there's complete spectrum of stuff that I'd love to do, So it's weird, but it's fun to be an actor and not do the same thing all the time,
Is there any advice you can give to those struggling Uber actors out there, Uber drivers?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks. I'm completely there and still have the memories. Some of the best advice I got was no one's gonna come to you and make this your reality. You need to wake up every day. You need to make sure that it's something that you really want, and you need to go after it. You know what I mean? You need to be the biggest fan. You need to be the biggest champion of your own work, and you need to be the guy that's out there doing things that other people aren't doing. And I struggle with that even still, because once you get a little bit of success, or you get some work, it's like, oh, okay, now I can chill. People are gonna want what I'm selling, and it's like, no, you still need to pound the pavement. You still need to send out postcards. You still need to go do these casting workshops. You need to, make sure that you have these relationships and making connections. And then on the other side of it is like, do stuff that other actors wouldn't do. I mean, for *Halt and Catch Fire*, which is kind of where this all started, I took class here in LA at Leslie Kahn. I'm such a big fan of her. She's amazing. She changed my acting. She just told me how to break down a script and change my life acting wise. And I met a lot of great people. I was there. One of my best friends now, Josh Brady Smith. He is like up and coming working actor. He's in tons of movies like I Saw the Light, and he just booked a part on the new Netflix show Ozarks. So like, he's doing really well. We did *Halt and Catch Fire* together, the 3rd season, and it was kind of weird because he's the reason that I got the job.
On The Walking Dead?
Well, indirectly. I mean, that's what it all led to, yeah. He introduced me to his Southeast reps. So that's one of the biggest things I tell LA actors. If you're only submitting yourself in LA and you only have people that are working for you in LA, you're missing a lot of opportunity. I have agents in North Carolina. I have agents in Michigan, New York. You know what I mean? Like, there's people that are working for me and trying to get me jobs. Atlanta has been the biggest part of my career so far. I've been in LA I've been in LA 9 years, going on 10 right now. And the last 2 years have been the biggest, and it's all been based in Atlanta. So all these roles, the Joey role was cast out of Atlanta. So get representation in the Southeast and do the jobs where it's like one line, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of roles that are just like, excuse me, sir, will you sign here? And that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I've done roles where I literally have no lines, and I mean, it's just working, getting the credit, and building your resume. Like, if you're going to be in any type of other job, you need to make sure that you're working hard and people know that you're able to do that job. Why is acting any different? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he referred me to his agent. I got hooked up with his agent. His agent sent me on the Nice Guys audition. I booked that. They sent me on the *Halt and Catch Fire* audition. I got a call back. I had to fly myself to Atlanta for the callback. And from that, I got the job. So that was risking like, $600. But at the end of the day, I did 16 episodes. You know what I mean? Like, it was awesome to work on that show so much. So, and then from that, the same people that cast me on *Halt and Catch Fire* cast me in *The Walking Dead*. It's the same casting director. So, yeah, it's not an overnight success story, buddy. You know the truth of that.
Yeah, I do.
It's still something that's very much something I work at, and I love what I do, so I'm very happy doing it. I feel blessed to be able to be on The Walking Dead and do cool stuff like that. So everybody tune in this Sunday.
The other cool thing about being on The Walking Dead is that, well, I mean, once you're on that show, you become part of the culture. Your character will have his own Wikipedia.
Oh, I know. I got the Wikipedia page. I have like a new agent for like Walker Stalker cons or whatever that stuff is. So apparently I'll be going to meet fans and stuff like that at some of those conventions if they want to have me out there. So there's a lot of possibility and a lot of opportunity, but it's like one of those shows like Star Trek where the fans last forever, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to have those interactions. I've not had any yet, like nobody walking down the street and being like "Fat Joey," so that's been good. But
it'll happen.
Yeah. I feel like I need to catch up with all of your stuff. Are you able to talk about that on the podcast?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What's going on with you? What are you doing?
Well, somehow I made a career out of shooting butts. And now I'm launching a website called Booty Supreme. I play in a band called Drift Pink. Oh, and sometimes I'm podcasting and writing articles for the Hellbound Post.
Well, remember, this is a very good experience. This ties in with The Walking Dead. You were shooting some really hot smoking mom at the loft with a gun, right? She was a mom. Wasn't she a mom?
I don't think this was me, man.
No, it was. You had her out in the elevator, like the loft elevator, and she was like holding some kind of gun. And you had all these weird cases for the guns, and you're like very safe and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like, whoa, you don't remember that?
I remember doing a shoot with a sexy model and a handgun in the elevator. I don't remember it being a mom with a gun.
I thought you said like, oh yeah, dude, she's hot, but she's a mom. And I was just like,
did I?
And you're like, yeah, I'm not gonna say any more of this.
Maybe I did, man. I don't remember.
I mean, it was one of those things where I was like really, really uncomfortable because, you never want to be that awkward guy in the corner watching a photo shoot. But at the same time, a gun was in the area. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go chill somewhere else.
Right?
Just in case Gavin gets too pushy.
So, wait. How does this gun and mom tie into The Walking Dead?
Oh, I was uncomfortable around the gun.
Okay.
I was not good around guns then, and I'm still not good around guns. I mean, this last episode, you saw Carl, like, murder two of my homies. And, like, that was one of the weirdest scenes to shoot because you just have guys dying next to you, and it's like, how do you react to that? I've never had that happen in real life. So you just have to tap into, like, movie mode or... Otherwise, I'd just be like, like, I don't know. But anyways.
Thanks for being on the show, man. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to the podcast on YouTube at the Hellbound Post, or just go to thehellboundpost.com to check out all our latest articles and podcasts. Again, thehellboundpost.com. Also, don't forget to tune in this Sunday for the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead and check out Josh. I look forward to talking with you again in the future, man.
Yeah, man. Enjoy this mid-season finale. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Good talking with you, man.
You too.